Hey, family. MarshaunO here, your favorite shift relationship strategist. And today we're talking about forgiveness. Listen, when we talk about forgiveness, we are talking about the three major rules that must come into play whenever you're trying to forgive someone, including yourself. But before we jump into that, I would like to invite you to take my quiz. Does your relationship need a rescue? Go ahead and click the link down in the description box below to find out if your relationship needs a rescue. Now, for those of you who are finding my channel for the very first time, my name is MarshaunO, and I am a shift relationship strategist. I help Black Christian women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift them to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated via my books, my digital courses, and my group coaching program for only women. Sorry about that, gentlemen. All right, with that being said, let's talk about forgiveness. And what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I mention the word forgiveness? If you are feeling sad, if you're feeling guilty, if you're thinking this message is for me because it's a ping in you that is keeping you on this video, then let's talk about the three pillars of forgiveness. See, the very first pillar in forgiveness is that you must forgive yourself for all of the wrongdoings that you have done to yourself, to your spouse, to your children, to your friends, to your parents, to your siblings, to your coworkers, right? The list can go on and on to the amount of people that you need to forgive. But the very first person on that list before you think about going outside is for you to forgive yourself. Because here's the thing, none are perfect. None of us are perfect. And sometimes we allow the little evil side to get to us and to get deep down into our spirit and to do the horrific, horrible things that we just even think about doing to another person. Again, this definitely could be to your spouse, right? Or to any other person, including yourself. Like, because sometimes we feel that we need to punish ourselves. We need to punish ourselves for the things that we do, for the things that we don't do, for the things that we're saying, for the things that we're not saying, even when you're not speaking up for yourself. Like, I have several clients that they are really mad at themselves because they don't use the power of their voice enough. And now they've gotten to the point where I am obligated to use my voice so I can get the respect that I need, so I can get the things that I need, as well as the things that I deserve, right? So using the power of no, speaking up and using their voice, they are mad at themselves for taking so long to really walk in their own, speak up for the things that they believe in, the things that they love, the things that they don't love as well. But being able to voice their opinion is something that they have been working with. Is something that's really hard for them to do. And I encourage you, if this is something that you have been plagued with, I encourage you to use your power of no starting today. Because what you will notice and what you will feel is that you will start putting your own self on your list first. So apologize to yourself before you even think about apologizing to anyone else. The second thing that you must do is to apologize, really apologize about your failures in life, and especially your failures in your marriage, your failures with your children. Acknowledge them and then apologize for them. Because here's the thing, all of us are doing the best that we can do with the information that we have today, in this moment, right now. We can only do with what we have currently. So all of the shoulda, woulda, couldas, all of the things that you did fail at, again, acknowledge them. Acknowledge that you failed at them. Even when you're having the apology, right? When you're going to your spouse and apologizing and asking for forgiveness, you can absolutely say, you know what? I failed at X, Y, and Z. Will you forgive me? I didn't know that I was failing in this area until I read this book. Or I didn't know that I was failing in this area until I had this conversation with this amazing person. And they made me think about the way that I'm showing up, my habits and behaviors, right? Go to your spouse and say, you know, I've been failing in this area. You've been wanting me to respect you. You've been asking for it for years and years and years. And I never really knew what that meant for a man to receive respect. And now guess what? Today, I understand it. So forgive me for failing at understanding what you really meant by being respected. So can we have that conversation now? What does respect mean to you? I mean, really getting granular and very apologetic for how you have been showing up, because you just didn't know, or maybe you didn't really want to know, or maybe you just didn't want to recognize your own faults, right? Because who wants to look in the mirror at their own faults? We really want to be a beacon of hope and of humanity and look really good all the time. And that's just not a possibility day in and day out. So apologize for your failures to your spouse, to your children, and of course to yourself and anyone else that is on that list. Apologize. The third pillar in apologizing is literally to have an authentic attitude of love, because whenever you go and humble yourself and you're having this honest introspective conversation with yourself, as I mentioned first, and then you are relaying this message to the person in front of you. When you talk to that person, I really want you to think about them as your friend. Yes, your spouse should be your friend, but if you're pissed off, you're not looking at them as your friend, because if you were, you wouldn't stay pissed. You wouldn't want to be right? So look at your spouse as your friend. Look at yourself as your friend and say, you know what, friend? You know what? I really want to show up and be the friend that you need for me to be. How do I do that? And then if you're talking to yourself, you can literally answer that question. If you had a friend come and apologize to you in that moment and asking for your forgiveness, how is it that you would show up in that moment? What words would you use? Would you say, I told you so? Would you say, finally? Like, what would your attitude be? I really want you to think about this, because the more that you show up and have an attitude of gratitude and show an attitude of love, you will allow that person's guard to come down as well as your own guard to come down. You will be able to see him or her differently, but in the space of really loving everything about him or her, everything about the way that they're showing up, and just really being able to embrace who they are in this moment and not bringing it up later on. So these are the three pillars when you're trying to forgive. Again, put yourself on the list first, and then go down that list of forgiving the people that you love and that is surrounding you, because you never know, you might be rebuilding relationships that were broken down from years ago or even months ago. Hey, even yesterday, right? So think about these things and implement them, because if you're coming to my channel, this is all about taking action. We're all about taking action here at MarshaunO. There is no coming to get the information and then you're doing nothing with it. So not only are you getting the information today, I want you to take action by going to click on the quiz link down in the description box below, finding out if your relationship needs a rescue. I love you guys. There's nothing that you can do about it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.